Y'all know what time it is. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time you hear my voice. Because when you hear that voice, it's time for the Root Cause Podcast, baby. The fellas are back once again to bring y'all some more stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep some conversation going. We got a guest today. You know what? My mama raised us that after you come over to the house the first time, you're not a guest no more. So he's not a guest no more. It's family now. You gotta go get your own cup now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting your drink no more. You know what I mean? So look, hey, we back, baby. Hi, fellas. How y'all doing before we do the intros and all that other stuff? Frank, what's good?
Man, we here. The weather outside is frightful.
Oh my God. They can have that, man.
So this our first snow that I consider our first snow of the season where I might have to get out there and break my back and sweat a little bit. But I'm just glad to be here with you guys again. A quick week though, man. It was a real quick week for me.
Man, you don't gotta break no back. That's why you got a son, boy. You better make that boy go out there and shovel and throw some salt out there.
Man, they don't get that until later. They don't understand. You get out there all day, they be lollygagging and
he just be trying to get it done.
We out there, we trying to rake leaves this fall. So I got to tell you, the oldest boy 1,000 times hit that pile. The youngest boy, he got the smallest pile, but he concentrating on everything else. So So we gonna get there.
That's all right. Little repetition, and we be all right.
That's it.
LT, talk to me, baby.
What's going on, man? Like Frank said, man, I'm glad to be back here, back in the lab with y'all, man. It's been a great week for me. You know what I'm saying? The impact has been growing. You know what I'm saying? People getting in profit. We're growing every day, bro. So it's the same thing, man. I'm like an animal with this shit, bro. It's the same thing day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? I know my role and I play it, and that's it.
Black Panther. DJ Shane, what's the smoke, baby? What's happening?
Man, just grinding, man. I'll be out there shoveling in a minute. I ain't got my little man this weekend, so he got lucky. But yeah, it's been a good week, man. Just the wind down Wednesday was great. Shout out to BJ and Mika. They were some great guests on. So been good.
That's what's up. Hey man, people talking about the wind down, they be loving that list. I said, look, it ain't no doubt in my man's skills on them ones and twos. Man. There's no doubt without a question. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Man, cool. So we gotta return. We're gonna say return a guest, but I just told y'all he's not a guest no more because y'all will see his face again. Hey Frank, bring our brother on, man. Bring our brother on.
Okay, so last season, for our listeners that were listening last, and we had Brother Rashad King on, and this was a gentleman that we wanted to talk to when it came to the aspect of religion. During that whole time, Beyonce had just come out with her movie, Black is King, and so we had a great conversation about that. And what drew me to this gentleman was he's the closest thing to a shaman that's on this screen right now. Not me, not Shane, none of us are as close to being a shaman as this brother here. I saw the way he raised his children. I saw the commitment. I saw the consistency. And I said, man, we got to holler at him. So I wanted to have him back on this conversation of masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, sweet.
So, Brother Shah, how you been, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm glad to be back. I had a really good time last time. So right now I'm actually in Texas in the heat, and I can't wait to get back home to Indiana. While everybody else is hating the cold and the snow, I cannot wait to get back home and feel that cold and feel that snow because I hate the summertime.
Let's switch places, bro.
Let's swap. We can swap.
In a heartbeat.
Anytime. I love the cold.
Yeah, you can have this, man.
Did you look outside?
Yeah, I looked outside.
I'm with you, bro. I'm not a summertime guy either.
Man, y'all can have them sweaters and bubble coats, man. Give me a tank top, some shorts,
for
basketball
real,
shoes, man. I'm out there all day.
For me in the sun.
I'm trying to tell you. Look, I'm gonna be in my. Hey, look, I'm off all days that it's snowing out here. I'm off. I put everybody on the work list, on the block list. Don't call me. I'm not coming in for none of y'all. I'm staying in shorts all these next 3 days. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
Shoot, man, that's what it is. That's good, man. Once again, we glad to have you back, brother, man, because you just it was a great value. That was a good episode. That like you said, we had a good time. So that's a good look. Let's keep it rolling before we get in there. Get the business. Brother Shane, what we got? That heat on the street, baby. What's good? What we got? Anything new?
DJ Shane.
I know one thing. This list better be fire.
It's still trying to warm up. You got a couple things, yo. If y'all familiar with Party Next Door, he dropped an album called Colors. Pretty consistent with most of his material. All his stuff pretty much sound the same to me. But he dropped something new. He dropped the album called The Voice. It's alright, if that's your thing. It's not in my rotation, but if you're a little Dirk fan, it's definitely consistent with what the product he puts out. Another guy I check for, I'm down with, Benny the Butcher, the whole Griselda crew. They one of their crew members, his name is Vino Lameno. He dropped a new album called Circle of Trust. That joined the fire. Jay Mills dropped the EP called Potent Vibes Only. Definitely something to rotate to. That thing is nice. And last but not least, one of my favorite, Will Downing. He dropped the album called The Song Garden.
Oh, okay.
If you in the Will, join the fire.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Will Downing.
Will Downing, yes sir.
Oh, that sounds like Wednesday nights, baby.
Hey, there you go. Hey,
down.
It's snowing.
That's my daddy's music. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So, hey, Shane, speaking on your music, man, get a little bit into your guy T.I. Talk about it.
What for his last project?
No, he talking about everything. The whole little smoke that T.I. Tiny got going on right now.
Hey, I'm of the type, you got to be careful what you bring into your circle, especially, if you, me, I'm always, whatever you do in your bedroom, do it to the fullest and make sure whatever you're doing, you protect that. And that's just one of the things that, you can't bring, everybody can't be invited, because 1 minute, I guess, I don't really know about the situation. I just saw, I say something. So I guess they had a little situation and somebody leaked something or whatever. You just gotta be careful who you bring around, you and your folks.
The crazy thing about that is a lot, like Candy Bears and her husband, they be having people come through, but they signed the non-disclosures and all that other stuff. But like you said, so it go back to like you gotta still, even with that, I guess you gotta be selective. You know what I'm saying? You can't just. I don't know if they was paying these people or how they was doing. Me personally, look, I would have ended up in a situation like that with some famous folk wanted me to come through. You ain't got to worry about me saying nothing, especially if you pay me too. You ain't got to worry about me saying nothing.
Lips, huh?
I'm good. Nobody gonna know nothing but us and you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to mess up the bag. Hey, when you run your course with me, when I'm all used up, send me on my way with my severance package, and I'm gonna be good. You know what I'm saying?
You say severance package?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Give me.
So speaking of that, right? So we all know what this is about. This is
No, I don't know. I'm out the loop.
So actually, the wife put me on to it. I saw a little bit of T.I. talk about it, but I hadn't seen the backstory, and it's almost a little Bill Cosby-ish, but it's about people being drugged or drugs being off or being forced to take drugs and then have these relations with T.I. and Tiny, right? Now, no one has said they've been forced. I was talking to my wife about this, and this was a point that she was making. She was like, no one has said, you know, they put it in my drink, there was a gun held to my head. So to me, this is nothing but a unofficial divorce of sister wives.
Right.
So,
That's how I take it.
you
Cause
know, the
like
person who's doing
they
it best is D. Ray
yeah.
Davis. You know,
Oh man.
where he's being honest, and he has two girls, or they all live in the same home. And what people have to realize, that's a whole nother conversation about this kind of culture that goes on, and who should be able to have it and who doesn't, and is it something that's should be frowned upon, or you know. But to me, it's nothing but just a unofficial divorce. Just he not getting along with his sister, or she not getting along with her sister wives, or somebody not saying eye to eye. So like Miguel said, give them their severance package and let them go.
And let them go. Yeah, like I seen like I was listening to the radio, they read off like her text messages and in an interview that she had, and she was going on them saying that T.I. was calling her all kind of B's and telling them to get her out of, getting the security to get her out of, and all kind of crazy stuff. But then, you got Tiny's best friend, I think her name's Shakana. She came on there and was like, nah, like that's none of that. They aren't what she's making them as people. They not out. She with how she portraying them and what in her interview and everything. That's not how T.I. and Tiny move. I mean, that's all up for speculation and everything. Like I think this gonna be something that they gonna easily go past because like if ain't nobody being forced, ain't nobody being locked away. What I mean? You was doing it for a while, clearly, you know what I'm saying? If that's what's going on. So what we talking about here? Like you said, I think you mad because you about to get you getting your papers, you know what I'm saying? You gotta walk you
So,
mad
so
the money about to dry up. Go get
It's
a
definitely
job.
not a good look though.
they just opened their relationship up because I haven't heard anything about it. They
Well,
just
nah, they didn't open anything up. This girl just came out with it, and it popped up on Twitter, and then eventually more different platforms and radio stations and channels started catching it. So of course T.I. addressed it publicly on his IG. I don't think Tiny has said anything, but her friend has spoken out for them, and they're saying that it's all lies and that nobody's forced to do anything. Ain't nobody, nobody. It's no gun in nobody's head and none of that stuff. And this chick she just making it all up.
And this is only
they had like a threesome or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Now I think that would be a really good topic for you guys to have. Is talking about the structures of relationship and how it's seen like in the modern day, because you have a lot of people where you have monogamous relationships, you have polygamy, and then you have polyamory. And a lot of people is thinking more now of being in a polygamy and polyamory relationship, because that's exactly what it is. And I don't see how, it's so frowned upon in today's society when stuff like this come out, when, like most people look at the Bible. When you look at the Bible, you never seen a monogamous relationship. Majority of them, when you look at our forefathers, this same drama you can apply to Abraham when he slept with his concubine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is nothing new. This is something that's always been around. And I don't think that it's going to be something that people can ever, force someone to be monogamous, because not everyone is good in a monogamous relationship. It's just a setup for, failure.
I'm glad that you said that, because speaking of our forefathers, the people that it spoke about, these were people who are men with means who had options, and in today's society, when everybody wants the six-figure nigga or whatever, those are guys with means and people with options, right? So that would still apply till today. Is it right? That's in the eye of the beholder.
Right, to each his own.
Yeah. So it's definitely not a good look, but I will say that it's hard for me to choose sides right now, because you don't know what has happened. And the only reason why I deem this as noteworthy conversational piece is because that's a Black family. This is
this is a family. It probably, the traction, I think, probably became more once T.I. addressed it, because of course he got the bigger following. I'm all, I think my framework of definitely 2021 has been, my motto this year been minding my business. And when I say that, like all my focus has been in my businesses. You know what I'm saying? I just had a call earlier with Frank about some other moves. It's just about making moves, and sometimes, of course, nobody knows who this other chick is, but they know who T.I. is. So when T.I. started talking, then now, of course, now it's gaining more traction, but you just got to mind your business, focus on your business.
Yeah, it's well, not the bad thing, but the thing about it is, like, at some point, especially when you got the limelight on you, silence is good at some point, and then silence ain't. Like, at some point, your people might be like, nah, we ain't gonna address this yet. But then at some point they be like, all right, it's time, we gotta come out. Because you got this chick that's out here running rampant, and she really going in too. Like, she definitely in her feelings. That little interview I heard of her, boy, she was going in like as if she was talking to one of her girlfriends or something about what they did to her. So eventually, even whether he did it on his own or eventually, like, they would have, just like how Will and Jada had to address that whole August Alsina stuff. Eventually, as secretive as they still gonna have to address this chick. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think that, nobody does it better than Beyonce and Jay-Z. And then, of course, I always put Will and Jada underneath that. But then, I would say T.I. and Tiny, outside of their other ventures, you know what I'm saying? Like, they did pretty good with that as well. So I think that this chick, like Frank was saying, I just think she really in her feelings. And I don't know if they was paying her, maybe the well about to dry up, and she closed her hair salon or something. And they ain't make good use of that money or something. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's on you, sister. You gotta make better choices if that's what you're gonna do. So,
but you know what? Sometimes in these polyamory arrangements, it's never anything to do with the money. It's the fact that somebody fell in love and they weren't planning on falling in love. And so now it's that one thing that's unexpected. It created a whole fire.
So that was a conversation, and one of the text messages showed that, I guess one girl was getting too close to T.I. during a sexual encounter, and he, I guess, was enjoying her, and Tiny stepped in. Was like, nah, and then they got to throwing hands. And so I do know it got a little. I'm like, how did he get toxic?
That's what y'all signed up for.
Yeah, how did they get toxic?
Right.
That's what y'all signed up for when y'all opened up y'all home to this other lifestyle. What you expect? I thought that's the purpose of the whole thing.
Yep. But you know what? In order to have any type of open relationship, like, you have to have a strong foundation and you got to be secure. Nobody can come with any type of insecurity, because if you come with any type of insecurity, the moment the other person, kiss a little longer or do something that you have always refused to do, now the next thing you know is a big argument. And instead of, enjoying what you agreed to do, now you're fighting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I've been wanting you to give me some head and you don't give me no head, but then we got this third party going in.
Yep.
Hey, look, that we got to call a sub man. You just gotta take that on the chin. Like, you don't
tag him
do
in.
it. She do it.
Gotta tag him in, baby.
Why
you don't want to be a headbanger? We got one.
You don't do it. So why are you mad? Like, don't just let her. Once she finished, jump on. You know what I'm saying?
But it has to be agreed upon, though.
It does. We definitely gonna go. This definitely gonna be a topic. We definitely gonna revisit this. You know what I mean? Because that, like Rashad said, that's a good topic, because that's clearly a thing. Like you say, D-Ray handles his situation very well. I've seen, like, just in scrolling, I've seen other people, in those type of relationships. You know what I mean? People are in them. And it's not that they can't work. I just, like Rashad said, it's got to be clear boundaries. Insecurities got to be out the window. Everybody got to understand their role and emotional context and everything. Because that's crazy. Because you think about, like you said, in a situation like that, somebody catch feelings or something, and now you got a problem. Mm-hmm. Well, if it's in a monogamous situation, if it's just me and a chick, and I'm clear to you about where I'm at, and then you catch feelings, and I gotta dismiss you, now you got a problem. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now you got a problem. Before I got married, I had a situation like that. I'm like, look, this is all this is. It's just fun. If there's no feelings, I'm not the guy for you for that or whatever. And I'm a big girl. I can handle it. And then she started catching feelings like, look, we got part ways. She got mad at me and cussed me out. I'm like, look, I told you this is what this was. Like, we're not going down that road. And I told her, I'm not saying that I can't be in a relationship with you, but I'm no good for a relationship right
but
now.
you cannot give her the whole salami, man. You was hitting the bottom, and what happened was she fell in love, and that's all that happened.
Hey,
1+1 equals 2.
Hey, you can't not go balls deep, baby. You can't go.
He's stroking.
You know what I'm saying? Hey man, look, y'all wild, boy. Look, let's keep it rolling. Hey, LT, what's that cash talk, man? What you got, man? Change it up for these dudes, man.
Money conversations.
If they want to talk cash, then Tim the one they need to talk to.
We like cash.
They say bullshit, won't fucking cash talk.
Cash talk tip of the day is on being limitless, right? And when I say limitless, not you just doing whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, being limitless within your lane, right? So what I mean by that, right? I have an affirmation that I say every morning. I say, I am limitless as I am one with nature, right? And I say that because if you look at a tree, right? A tree, let's say a mango tree. A mango tree is it's not going to wake up and say, it's not going to wake up one day and say, I don't feel like producing mangoes. I don't feel like producing seeds. I don't feel like doing what I'm supposed to do to produce mangoes, right? The mango tree is going to produce as many mangoes as it can until it dies, right? And that's the same thing. I was watching Animal Planet. I think it was Animal Planet. I don't remember what it was, but it was something that me, my wife, and my son was watching, and I'm looking at and they was talking about the cheetah. And they was explaining what she was doing, that she was looking at this gazelle, and it just looked at, as the cheetah was sitting there in the grass. I noticed that she didn't move until she saw the one gazelle or any one of the gazelles that she was looking at, because she was looking at a herd of them, right? But she didn't move into the next phase of her hunting until that happened, right? And then once one of the gazelles dropped their guard, just one of them. Once one of them dropped their guard, she immediately rose up, and then she launched, right? And then she continued to pursue the gazelle, and then she killed it and went to go feed her family, right? So I just looked at that. I was like, man, like, imagine if us as humans move like that. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if us as humans, because the reason why we're not limitless, why we don't do as much as we can, is because we have second thoughts. We guess, we have doubts. You know what I'm saying? An animal in the wild, they don't have doubts. They do exactly what they're meant to do, what they're purposed to do, without any questions, no ands, if, or buts, right? So I aspire to become like nature and be limitless. Right now, how do you do that? You know me, I like to break things down to steps, right? So one, I would say, first, figure out your purpose, and that includes you tapping in with yourself, and however you got to do that. One, figure out your purpose. Two, find a vehicle that will allow you to serve your purpose in the best way possible, right? Three, figure out the blueprint to that vehicle. Four, make a schedule to be able to work that blueprint, inside of that blueprint as much as you can. And then five, create goals to execute on the blueprint each and every day. And make goals and and drive the actual vehicle each and every day, right? And continuously doing that over and over again, that will actually open doors up for you that you never thought and people around you never thought could be opened up in the space that you're in.
Like it a lot. I like it a lot. Hey,
so go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. We can go ahead, Frank.
Hey, ALT. I'm about to call you T.I. Sorry. Hey, I appreciate that. You're right. nature is limitless,
Mhm.
and it has its own means and methods. Humans are the only ones that find reasons to limit themselves.
Right.
We limit ourselves on sleep. We limit ourselves on nutrition and all of the above, right? So I think that was a great cash tip talk.
Man, hey Frank, you need some coffee or something this morning?
Yeah.
My man said it was a great cash tip.
Great
Tip
cash
talk.
tip talk.
Hey, look, you know what? I know what Frank needs. He need him a good smoothie, right? From our lovely sponsors at the 301 Nutrition Spot, baby. Okay, located at 9542 Crane Highway, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. He need to go get him one of these and get his life together, because my man ain't functioning and flowing right now. I don't know what he got going on. You know what I mean? But just so y'all know what's going on with the 301 Nutrition Spot. Just because they are sponsors. We want y'all to know what's happening. So they are local, and their mission is to motivate, support, and empower the community to become the best versions of yourselves through amazing nutrition and positive, powerful, packed community events for the entire family, right? You can get a healthy smoothie, green tea, protein, coffee, specialty drinks, pre and post-workout beverages, And speaking of doing different events, they actually got an event coming up February 29th from 6 p.m. to 8 at their location. Once again, was 9542 Crane Highway, and it's a paint and sip. You can reserve your spot there, or you can register online. And just come out. And it says you ain't got to have no art smarts needed. Just come out, have a good time. Tickets $41.50. You can get that now. So y'all go ahead and check that out. And if anybody go past there today, y'all feel like driving, Frank is in Temple Hills. Get him whatever they got for the mind and bring that to him. My man knows what to say right now.
Hey, go cash mob them people today,
Frank. Because you the one that be guiding the ship sometime, baby.
Even Jordan missed the shot, man. You heard me?
What happened?
We still
y'all
on?
Hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear y'all. What happened?
We all on board. Something did change to your sound though. But yeah, y'all go cash mob them today. Don't we have a code that they can use? And I think it's TRC. So you can get a discount when you do go to 301 Nutrition Spot, and that stands for the root cause, okay? So use our discount code, and that will let the company know that you guys are coming by way of the Root Cause podcast, all right? Cool. So let's get, one more thing. So LT, I got something for you. Let's talk, since you're the money man, let's talk Robin Hood and what the and what the stocks has been doing this week. Wall Street, they've been playing a bunch of games as usual, but things have been up and down. Are you familiar with what's been going on?
Got in on the action, right? You know what I'm saying? At first, Robin Hood was saying let people trade, right? But now that you know what I'm saying, we kind of got some inside information on what's going on with GameStop. And people got onto that, and people got onto that information and capitalized on it, right? Because there's more people investing. It's way more people investing now than it was in, back when Robin last year. Shit, it's a lot more people investing now, but they got onto some inside information from a guy from Reddit, and it went viral, and people capitalized on that move in GameStop and shorted it. And people came up, and while a lot of people came up, right? And this is why I talk about the wealth shift all the time. I'm telling y'all, this shift is really happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a major wealth transfer that's happening right now, and it's coming through information, right? So we getting this information, and people, where before information might have been coming out, or information might have hit the scene, and people may not know what to do with it. Now, because information is evolving, people understand what people are getting equipped with the knowledge that they need to be able to capitalize on these moves. So that's what happened with GameStop. People shorted GameStop when the news came out, and everybody ate. And now Robinhood is mad and talking about something. Now we don't want you guys. Now we're gonna say y'all can't trade this.
Yeah.
Can't trade it no more. Why? Because everybody well, instead of just charging it to the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can't buy, right?
Right. No, you can't.
So they're not allowing you to buy. So it was GameStop, and now I think it's AMC Entertainment. And so what's happening is on Wall Street, these hedge fund guys decided to bet against their own funds, and they said, "Well, look, I bet that it's going to lose," and if they're placing this bet hoping to gain a lot of more money. Well, Redding has this community that said, "Look, we're not going for that. It's just your average blow Joe. You, me, Miguel, Shane. We all say, look, Slim, let's go and let's cash mob a company. Let's go and let's buy up all the stock." And that's what they did. And so all of those people made a lot of money. And so this tells me, I already knew that social media was very powerful, right? But now this tells me that the average person now has the ability, this is stuff that we've already spoke on, right? Once we galvanize and come together and be on one accord, right? And we go and we move, we can change what's happening as far as money, currency too. So man, I just wanted to holler at you about that. I wanted to know your thought process when it came to that.
Well, that's always been the case.
Bro, I love the fact.
You like,
go ahead.
You know, just like when stock options came about, the traditional stock traders, they didn't like when that came about because that meant you could make money whether the stock went up or went down. And the same thing when E-Trade came out. You know, the normal stockbrokers, they didn't like with E-Trade because that put the power into the consumer. So there was no more commissions and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a commission with E-Trade, but it's a smaller commission than your regular broker. And E-Trade doesn't sell you stock. You know, a stockbroker tries to sell you stock based on those companies. They're going to tell you go buy, Avion Water stock because it benefits Avion Water. And then they also get a commission from that. So even when Robinhood came by, I think even now, so you could buy stock on Cash App. So every time there's an innovative way to trade or invest your money, the traditionalists, they don't like that, because it takes away, from the things that make them money,
and on the same token, right? I'm gonna say the market makers, they actually like when more people come into the market. Why? Because statistically, 95% of traders, they fail because they don't really understand the market, right? But that's good for the market makers, right? Because if y'all understand the market, if someone's buying, someone's selling, whether you know it or not, whether it's just a click of a button, and you are selling fear and greed. Those are the two emotions that you're selling in the market, right? Since we understand that since market makers understand that people who are not trained and people who don't very emotional, they understand that, right? So what they do is they come out with news and stuff like that to incite a fear of missing out. We call it FOMO, fear of missing out. So people do stupid stuff like.
Yeah, hey Tim, you going in and out, brother. But what I will say is this: is that Robinhood is not living up to his name. Robin Hood in the movies, the cartoon, we all knew Robin Hood stole from the rich to give to the poor. And this is a platform for the average consumer to go and now invest and become owners or get small pieces of companies. And now they're stopping that. If they had done the opposite, how much more would they have gained? How much more will people want to go and work with Robinhood when it comes to stuff like that. Instead, they put up a wall and say, no, you can't do this. So once again, they're protecting the rich again.
I mean, I think it's so easy to believe, you know, we all change our morals and everything, you know, well, not everybody, but most people, once somebody hit you that check, you know, I can believe that somebody probably, you know, gave Robinhood some type of, you know, profit. And now because of that, you know, they made such a big risk like that could have possibly lost them a lot of money. Because a lot of people could have been like, you know what, I'm not feeling this app no more because of what they did, and walked away. And so to me, for a company to make a big risk like that, you had to, something is coming in. You got something out of this. You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense. So, you know, and I'm a Robinhood app user. You know, I like the app. I'm always, you know, trading and stuff on there. But, you know, for me, you know, and when they did that, you know, it was just common sense. I can believe that the wealthy probably gave them something to make a move like that.
Yeah, most definitely. Appreciate that, fellas.
All right.
Miguel.
Yeah. So we definitely want to keep it rolling, and we want to the whole point here of having Brother Rashad on is, like we said earlier, Frank. We wanted to continue this masculinity talk because it's definitely it's a topic that touches so many avenues and areas, and I mean, like I said, we literally just scratching the surface of this thing. We ain't even scratching this enough to make you ashy on your skin. You know what I mean? So we want to touch this in many ways, in the different ways that we can, as we kind of, you know, go through this. And like we told y'all before, we may do this in a couple of parts. This could be the last part of it, or we might have maybe 2 or 3 more episodes. Who knows where this conversation gonna go and the other guests that we may have. So we just want to, you know, get back into that. And you know, just a recap. Last week, you know, we kind of tried to define these lines a little bit, right? And, you know, we told you that the definition of masculinity was just portraying masculine traits, right? And, you know, I gave you a couple of those, and some of those were being strong, brave, courageous, assertive, fearless, you know, with a warrior type mindset, right? But, and we have to be able to move. We have to be able to be what we need to be when we need to be, you know, and that's Tim kept breaking it down, is the flow of energy. You know, if we need to be bold or stoic, like for example, for a soldier to be stoic, he might need that on the battlefield, right? But to be stoic in the sense of dealing with his internal issues, it might not be good for him. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be able to move in and out of these different feelings, feminine feelings and masculine feelings, right? So I mean, we just want to continue it from that point right there. And I want to even add, just so people understand these different type of traits and energies, right? So once again, some masculine traits, you know, just being strong, confident, firm, aggressive, sarcastic, and even forceful. But then you got feminine traits that are patient, sensitive, dependent, appreciative, nervous. And at any given time, as a man, we can be nervous. At any given time, we can be dependent. At any given time, we can be sensitive. Now, that doesn't mean that, like we said, that just because you're portraying masculine traits doesn't mean you're a man. Just because you're portraying feminine traits doesn't mean you're a woman. But the best advice that we gave was the fact that you have to be able to move in and out of these energies, and actually it's healthy for you to be able to do so. Because when you can't do that, that's when you start running into these issues of anxieties and depressions and the suicide rates and things like that. So I think, Frank, you had something for us that you wanted us to hear before, so we can really get into this topic even more. So what you got?
So I got a couple questions right quick. My question one is, are men lost when it comes to masculinity currently, right? Where you have technology now that has taken over. And so you have women who provide in a certain manner and men who provide in a certain manner. Women now make more money, at least Black women. across the board than Black men. Our Black men at their highest peak when it comes to confidence and when they are protecting and providing, or has that now changed because of technology and because of the workforce? I want you to drop a video for us when it comes to hyper masculinity. This is a term that's been out for a while, and I want you guys to hear exactly what Dr. Tommy Carey is talking about when it comes to hyper masculinity, and we'll get into that. Go ahead, O. Okay, so while O is getting that done, right? Dr. Tommy Carey talks about this video, or at least you'll hear the audio if you're listening. He goes in to talk about, you have guys that they think everything is gay. Kids end up mimicking the household. So if there's a man and a woman in the house, right? 9 times out of 10, the boy will gravitate towards the father, the girl will gravitate towards the mother. But when one of those parties are missing, in this instinct in hypermasculinity, the man is gone, right? So 9 times out of 10, there's a big population of us, especially Black men in the 90s, who were raised without fathers in the household. 80s and 90s, because of whatever it was, whether it be drugs, whether it be welfare, whatever. And so the boy, the young man ends up taken to the mom, to all her characteristics, but he's a male. And so when the masculine body can't do what the feminine spirit gives out, the boy tends to dislike things of his mom. And then he tends to point at all those characteristics like being nurturing, which is a great thing. That's really a feminine energy, even though men contain it, but it's really it's a woman thing. They do it best, right? So then we tend to frown upon being nurturing. Miguel, you posted something this week where it was a karate guy, a black belt, who was training one of his students. This young man had to be about maybe 7 or 8, and he
9 years old. It was his son.
Yeah, you go in and talk about that for a second.
So his name is Jason Wilson. I'm actually reading his book right now it's called Cry Like a Man. And his whole concept is being able to as a man, not being masculine or feminine, but being human, right? And then being human, you're able to navigate through in and out of your emotions as need be. You're able to control these emotions. So in this video, the boy is crying while he has this thing is called the Cave of Adelon, right? And then this is a boy's rites of passage into manhood, and they do it not only with his students, but their fathers come along in this thing, and it's a rite of passage for these young men to go into, right? And what it was he was showing him at the time. I think this was the one. I think the one you're talking about was the one he was trying to break a board. I think. Oh no, the one that I reposted. He was doing a grapple with him. And the boy started crying while they were grappling. So he stopped him and he said, "Well, what are you crying about? Why are you crying?" And at first he couldn't say, it was hard for him to say it. And then he finally said that he was nervous, right? So he kind of laughed about that. And then he told me, he said, "It's okay to be nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. So let's work through that." And this is where his foundational piece comes in of when we are feeling these different emotions and we're feeling a certain way at that given time, is that emotion useful or isn't it? If it's not, let's cast it down and keep moving. If it is, if we can use it, then let's use it. So yes, he was nervous, and he was teaching him to work through his nervousness while still doing what they were doing. And the more he kept saying, "I'm nervous," out loud while he was still grappling, the tears went away, his confidence went up, and he was able to do what it was that they had set out to do. So he's teaching guys how to be able to navigate through our emotions, because what we're learning is we as men, we fall in this thing of emotional incarceration because of this whole stigma of I'm a man and I can't, and I'm not supposed to cry, and I'm not supposed to, like the young, like who you just talked about, Frank. The young man took a lot of his mother's mannerisms, her traits and things like that, and it's conflicting for him because now he doesn't know how to navigate between one, which is all part of being a human, right? he doesn't know how to be comprehensive. And all comprehensive mean is being able to work in many different areas and understanding those different areas, right? So he doesn't understand that what the masculine part of him is calling for, and while he's doing these feminine things, so it's confusing to him. And now you're trying to figure these things out. I was just reading some stuff where so that men who are flexible in these areas are more healthy overall. But men who tend to not be able to function in and out of these different energies, that's when we coming across the anxieties and the depressions. Like, for example, I never even thought of this, and we talked about this last week with the different levels of depression and things like that. But like within the gay community, gay men really experience it because it just as much as we define feminine and masculine here within the LGBTQ community, it's even more so. And research is showing that men who are unable to let's say exist in both realms, that like, okay, this is who I am, and you have to and I accept me, not you accept me, I accept me, and they still aren't trying to prove themselves, they're more likely to be depressed and have anxiety and things like that. So what we're seeing in this video is this guy teaching these young boys how to do what, for a while we weren't taught to do, to not cry and not speak on our feelings and everything, and to make it okay. And like LT said last week, in being okay with ourselves and being one with ourselves and understanding who we are, now we create the space so that, because, and Frank, you said this, some women don't even know what it looks like to be a man like that, and they would call it you saying you acting like a girl or whatever. But when actuality, if you understand that as not just a man, that I'm healthier and more beneficial to you and everybody around me if I can navigate in and out of these different energies, right?
So I got a question for you and Brother King, and that is, you mentioned what the young man cannot and can do, but let's say like he is mimicking the household and he sees something that's physical, or whatever the case is, that his mother is demonstrating, but he cannot do that physically as a man, as a young man. He starts to gain some frustration towards not only the feminine side, right, but also his mother. All right, and that is technically what they call hyper masculinity. He then goes, and then everything is just straight masculine. Brother Rashad, can you speak a little bit into that?
Yeah, because masculine, feminine energy is so confusing. So first, I'm going to show you how confusing it is to a lot of people. Because Frank, if I was to tell you, describe an orange to me, what do you know about an orange?
I know that it's citrus, it's a fruit, it's
Okay, good, because I wasn't talking about the fruit, I was talking about the color. That's how confusing it is when we talk about masculine and feminine energy, is that we're all talking about the same thing. We're all talking about orange, but we're so lost because you're talking about the fruit and I'm talking about the color. Gotcha. And so now our conversation is going to be a big disconnect, because the only thing that we have in common is the word, but we're on two different planes. Wow. And so when it comes to masculine and feminine energy, it's a mixture of masculine and feminine. It's a mixture of gender and sex. We put all of those things under the same title when they're completely different things. Your sex is your sexual orientation that's going to say if you're going to be bisexual, gay, or straight. But then you have your gender, which is saying that you're a man or woman. But masculine and feminine energy is completely different. And so, see, we get into so many problems when we merge these two, that if you're masculine, you got to be straight and you got to be a male. No, masculine energy is also with females as well. Have you not seen females that are just extremely masculine? And it's because it's not that they're a male. It's not saying that they're going to be a lesbian or anything like that. They just possess masculine energy. Masculine energy is the ability to lead. Masculine energy is the ability to give direction. Normally your masculine energies is people like a CEO and things like that. And masculine energy possess a trait where they are very detached. So, to me, like in the zodiac sign, those would be like your earth signs, your Capricorns, your Virgos, and your who else? I'm missing one of them. And then it's the same as your air signs, where both of those, to me, they're very detached. And the one thing about masculine energy, it's like a CEO, that a CEO can make a decision, and when he make that decision, he don't have all people in mind. It's just focusing on that one thing. I got to let go of 100 employees because that's what the budget is causing for. In order for me to keep this company afloat, I got to let go of 100 people. Masculine energy is so detached from everything that they can let that go just like that, because they have the ability to lead. They have the ability to execute things. But feminine energy is the complete opposite. Feminine energy is the energy to nurture. It's the energy of manifestation. So normally when you talk about a lot of spiritual people that are really spiritually grounded, spiritually minded, all of them are feminine energy. In order to tap into the spirit, you must come in feminine energy. And see, because we always associate feminine energy with females, even though that's not the case, it's easy to explain that how every time when you see someone that is the forefront of a religion or a spiritual practice, it's always females. It's always somebody that possesses feminine energy, because feminine energy has the energy to manifest whatever it is that they want, that they can really make something out of nothing. That's your feminine energy. But we come with so many different problems because, like I said, we mix all of this stuff together, because I believe that a male can be in a household with all females and he can still be straight and he still can be considered a male. But at the same time, he only possessed feminine energy because that's the energy that he was created with, that he's going to be, maybe he's called to be a healer. Maybe he's called to, go into some type of spiritual practice or something like that. But I think that, the moment that we clearly define those three, and that we understand that masculine and feminine has nothing to do with gender, and that it has nothing to do with sex, I think that we find out like things are just a whole lot easier to understand. Because that's just like even the fight that we tend to do when we try to give God a gender. And it's like,
exactly.
If this is universe, if this is source, if this is something that created everything, why would we, number one, assault him to lower him down to one gender, when if he is the all of all, he got to be both. You can't say that he's one more than the other. That if all of us is in the likeness of this creator, of this universe, of this powerful source, we can't minimize his power. We can't minimize, the energy and stuff he brings to the earth by saying, okay, he have to be this or she have to be this, And so I think we have to understand that, number one, in order for this person to be God, God have to be all. And so once we understand that, God is all, and we start understanding these characteristics, we start then internalizing this in our own lives, and we start to separate those three boxes that we tend to merge so much. That, when it comes to sex, I can be a gay male because that is my sexual orientation. But then when it comes to gender, I'm still a male that don't want to be a female because I prefer to be a male. But when it comes to my energy, I have feminine energy because I possess the power of manifestation.
Hey,
and so I think when we understand that and stop merging those three together, I think so many problems can be solved.
If you get all of that,
go ahead,
you'll be, if you get all of that, you'll be able to understand it as a flow of energy, right? Because just like you said, the manifestation and all of that, because it's like that, because your subconscious mind is the feminine aspect of you. Your conscious mind is the masculine aspect of you. So once you can, like I said, it's a flow of energy. You figure that you realize once you figure that out, you figure out the whole masculine and feminine energy thing,
Hey,
So
look,
I had a question for
go ahead.
Brother King. In your because I think the last time we talked, you said you were in HR, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, which to me is like, I think with all of this, like LT says, the energy is about having balance. And how do you manage, you know, all of that in your profession? Because like HR, you're balancing with the, as you said, with the masculine energy of the CEO, what they want to execute it, as well as in HR, you still can't deliver the message in too much of a masculine way. You have to still think about the person, as well as if you get complaints from employees to HR. So how do you manage that in your profession?
Okay, and you know what? I think people always get confused when it comes to me because I always tell people is that I am the king of feminine energy. That's the energy that I stay in. I stay in feminine energy. That's my whole personality, because my personality is very warming, it's very healing. That's why I'm in HR, and that's why I do, spiritual life coachings and things like that, is because I stay in that feminine energy. But see, looking at me, people is like, okay, based on your appearance, I'm going to say you're masculine because you're muscular. We automatically look at the physical and we say, okay, you're too muscular. You have a beard, you have hair, you have all of these things. And so I'm going to put you in the box of you have to be this masculine person. And so when people see me, they always tend to think that I'm just like, that I'm going to come off rough, that I'm going to come off rude. Most people look at my presence and they like, you know what? I don't even want to talk to him. But little do they know, if they just come and say hi, they will figure out I'm nothing, I'm not the perception that they think I am. Because, I stay in that feminine energy and that feminine aspect. And, to me, feminine energy is the energy to counsel. It's the energy to build somebody up. And so when it comes to HR, I think that's why I'm so successful in HR, is because I have the patience to listen to people, to get all sides of the story. That, when a manager come in and tell me something, that I'm just not taking that manager word, but I'm like, okay, let me interview everyone that's around so that I can really get the whole picture and understand what the truth is. And so to me, feminine energy, it gives you the ability not only to counsel, but it gives you the energy to be patient as well, and to move in the right season, to be able to do things when it's the best time to do it. And so, of course, to me, you with masculine energy, it's more fast energy that I wanted this done yesterday. But feminine energy gives you the ability to slow it down, to be more patient, and you're more methodical, you're more analytical, and you're making sure that every move that you make, it makes sense.
Hey,
I
man,
got a question.
hey, Frank, before you...
Let me get in there,
go
right?
ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
So I guess my hang up is when you first came into it, you said that when people see you, they see the masculine, and they already have an opinion. Okay, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to. So we already have this look at masculine like it's toxic, like it's something that I can't deal with. Where the feminine is.
I wouldn't say toxic. I would say we automatically we try to put masculine and feminine energy as if it's in the physical plane, when it has nothing to do with physical. It's intuitive. It's you can't see it. And I think so many times that's where we messed up, because it's like, okay, you got a beard, you masculine. You shave, you feminine. You got hair, you feminine. You know what I'm saying? You got a bald head, you masculine. You got dreads, you masculine. Braids, you masculine. You put a perm in your head, you feminine. You know what I'm saying? We automatically, we as humans, to me, we tend to stay on the physical plane, that everything is what we see. That, we see someone that has a degree and we're like, okay, they're intelligent, but little do you know, they cheated their way through and they don't even understand the degree that they have. And so we automatically go off of what we see, instead of going into that intuitive spiritual realm and actually sensing the energy that's on somebody. And so I think that's the mistake that we make so often. And when we stay in the physical realm, we tend to only, we understand that, number one, you're not dealing with energy anymore when you're standing on the physical realm, that you are literally only focusing on someone's sex and gender, and you're using sex and gender to assign them an energy instead of actually figuring out what energy they possess.
And that's what makes it toxic. That's why you can say toxic, hyper, and this and that.
Say that again, Tim.
I said, and that right there, being stuck in the physical, which is not, it's being a flow of energy or spirit, whatever you want to call it. That right there is why that whole door is even opened up to call something masculine toxic, or you can call something masculine hyper, or whatever the case may be. When in all reality, none of it is toxic or masculinity, because it just is what it is. It's just what energy is. Energy is that is. Spirit is that is. So once you can take that out of that physical realm, then you can't even call something toxic or call something hyper or whatever the case may be, or whatever other label that they try to put on masculinity or femininity.
So we're speaking on the spiritual plane, but we know everything that happens on the physical first starts inside, right? Yeah. And so when things tend to manifest, and you have guys that become chatty patties, or you have guys that smack girls in the face with skateboards, or guys that go and jump women and try to bite their eye out just because they fear rejection. What energy is that? Is that because women are chatty patties? You know, they tend to from every Real Housewives of Atlanta, Basketball Wives, all those things, right? That they point to the feminine. Love and Hip Hop, they point to the feminine, and those traits are then shown, right? So how do we teach our young men, our boys, to navigate through that when we live in the physical? Because we're thinking high level now, which is great.
But see, I like the zodiac sign. You know, some people mess with it, some people don't. To me, the zodiac sign, it gives an example of the soul that you're dealing with. That's what the zodiac sign to me is all about. It's the soul that this person possesses. And, you know, this was one of the things I actually had to get on my sister about, where my sister was keep getting on to my nephew, and she was keep saying that my nephew is that he's being feminine. She was like, you know, he's keep being feminine. He's trying to act like us because he's in a house of all girls. Okay. You know, he has sisters, and he has, you know, just my sister. And I'm like, Shay, you gotta stop calling him that, because I'm like, number one, he's gonna grow up and he's gonna remember that, and he's gonna regret you, you know, for saying all of that stuff. And I'm like, he's not feminine, you know. He's emotional. It's a complete difference between the two. And, you know, specifically now where I tie it into the zodiac is that he's a Scorpio. To me, I have never met a water sign that haven't been emotional. All of your water signs are emotional. And I think that we look at that and we automatically say, you know, oh, they're feminine because they're emotion and they're showing their emotions. You know, when you tell them something, they cry. They tend to hold grudges. You know, you never want to do anything to a water sign because they will come back and drown you with all of the water they got. Facts. But the thing about it is, those are just emotional people. So it don't matter whether when you meet that Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, it don't matter if that person is a male or a woman, you know, they're going to possess those emotional traits. That's just like, you know, when you look at your fire signs are very haughty. They're very passionate. And normally when you look at somebody getting crunk, beating somebody up, throwing things across the wall, you know, going from 0 to 1,000, those are always your fire signs. Those are your Leos, those are your Aries, and those are your Sagittarius, that they're very hot in nature. You know, when you look at the people that's more, you know, put together and well built, because they're, you know, people see this word as a bad thing, but it's not. They're very materialistic. Those are your earth signs. Those are your Taurus, your Virgos, and your Capricorns. They are always well put together, very intelligent. You know, they like to dine out and do all of this other stuff. And then you have, you know, my sign, which is your wind signs that are very intelligent, you know, very logical, very analytical, you know, and those are your Geminis, those are your Aquarius, and those are your Libras. And to me, when you break those things down and you start to understand, those energies, it's so easy to identify, okay, you are truly being, true to your sign and all of this other stuff, instead of just putting it under, masculine and feminine, because sometimes it's just it's the core of who that person is. It is it is the soul that person possesses. And, the one thing that I like about the zodiac signs is that each sign, it comes with the good that the sign has, and it comes with the challenges that they have to, overcome in this lifetime. Like, Geminis are very chatty. I've never met a Gemini that don't like to run their mouth.
That's your boy.
So, yep. And see, I'm a Gemini. And so that's not a feminine trait. That's just a Gemini. Geminis, when they are in a room, they got to take over the conversation. They're very intelligent. Geminis like to get knowledge from all of these different things, so that no matter what room they walk in, they are knowledgeable and they can add their 2 cents in. Even if they only know one thing about that topic, they still gonna run their mouth and talk about that one thing for 5 hours.
So
some of the stuff goes back to that sign.
So you mentioned
hold on, Frank,
right? So you mentioned the emotional. Will we all agree that President Trump was an emotional character?
President Trump was a true Gemini, because I think he represented our sign well. Number one, Geminis is the one that I think get talked about more than any other zodiac sign. They throw Geminis under the bus. They talk about how crazy Geminis are and stuff like that, because Geminis got 2 primary sides to them. They got a real nice side that everybody like, and then they have that crazy side whenever they feel like they've been, messed over or something like that. But Geminis are very intelligent. That's the one thing that you got to give a Gemini, that no matter how crazy they are or what they do, they're very intelligent, and everything that they do is by design. And you have to say, when you look at Trump, he was exactly that. He was a true Gemini, that everything he did was by design. No matter, regardless of how we liked it, this was a businessman that made sure that he was always in the news, regardless of whether he had good press or bad press. This was a man that always gave his 2 cents, even if he wasn't the smartest person in the room. This was somebody that led by his own philosophies and his own, agenda, not taking the information from anybody else. That is a true Gemini. Like, I don't see.
He spoke, and the Twitter fingers was based off emotion. Like, he called women out their names and insulted everybody that he could, right?
And so in
society, we kind of relate that as being emotional, and we relate being emotional as a feminine trait, right?
See, I don't think. See, that's the thing. That's the mix-up right there. Is like I said before, I don't care for either one of these presidents. I don't even like politics for real. But people paint Trump as this bad guy, but people don't. And people look at what social media, what the media tells them to look at about this person. But like Mr. King said, he was very methodical about everything that he did, and a lot of times people misconstrued a lot of things that he said. You know what I'm saying? People once again, I'm not a Trump supporter, guys. I'm not a Trump supporter, but just speaking off the aspect of him being emotional, and I don't feel that he was emotional. I feel like he said, everything that he did, he did it like just even him getting in office, he had to speak the majority's language, which was what? Poor white people. That's the majority of America. That's the majority of America. So he had to speak their language in order to get to where he got, in order to get the majority of the votes. That's what he had to do. So he did just that. He catered to their emotions. He used everyone else's emotions to his personal gain.
Stay on that point, because you're right. that was the key. That was the thing that made Trump so powerful, is that he catered to everybody. Is that you really, I think you would misunderstand him if you focus on him and you don't focus on that Gemini energy that he was able to just show out. Because Geminis are very adaptable, that a Gemini can go around anybody. And it's just like, to me, it's like Paul in the Bible, where when he said, when I was around the Pharisees, I spoke as if I was a Pharisee. When I was around the Sadducees, I spoke as if I was a Sadducee. When I was around the Jews, I spoke as if I was a Jew. And that's exactly what Trump did. That even though he showed you what it was that he didn't like, a man that had no strong spiritual background, he was the Christian's president, because he was able to do things methodically and just being so analytical, knowing that if I do this, this, and this, even though I'm talking about women and all of this other stuff, I'm going to get all of the Christian votes. And they're going to forget about, who they are. They're going to forget about their good characteristics and what they should be doing as a Christian. And if you notice, the Christians only voted for him because he said that he was against the gays and abortions. And so as long as he said those two things, boom, he got at their votes just like that. Is that emotional? No, that is catering to the people. You told me what you wanted. I know what hate drives a Christian, so I'm going to give you just that. And now I'm going to get off of you and go to the next group, and I'm going to cater to them and give them what they want. So you saying you don't like Mexicans, you know what? We're going to build a wall. I don't know how we're going to get the money. So you're going to look at me and you're going to think I'm stupid. But once again, I'm catering to another group of people to get them riled up. So now I can get your votes as well. And then the next thing you know, we got a president, which is a true Gemini thing, a president with no political background, with no political degree. And we had someone running against him that was extremely qualified and way more qualified than him. But yet we chose the Gemini because he gave us that charm of giving every group exactly what they wanted.
And before we move on, I hope y'all, everybody, either whether you just coming in or not, like everything that we ain't talking politics, we still talking around some masculinity and femininity and the energies here. Like these are energies we are literally talking about, and how you clearly define these things. I love that we got a recap of last week without even actually doing a recap of last week, because Brother Rashad hit everything in terms of, like, for example, Frank, when you asked last week about opening up the jar, I told you that's not to be able to be stronger than your wife and open the jar. That doesn't mean you're masculine, right? You know what I'm saying? You got feminine, like you can have a female drill sergeant. She, in front of all men, she's got to be masculine. She's got to show this leadership quality. Even going back to the Bible, when you think about it, like Rashad just said, for God to decide that I got to wipe everybody out because y'all ain't doing what I need y'all to do and flood the earth, that's masculine. That's aggressive. That's real quick, and let's get it done. The feminine aspect of God's energy, let me bring Jesus in here so I can be a little bit more sympathetic, so I can be a little bit more forgiving, I can be a little bit more understanding rather than just hitting it, then wipe them out again. You see what I'm saying? So
I love this conversation, man.
I'm trying to tell you, that's why I'm over here. Y'all can't see me, everybody that's going to be listening, but whoever see the video, I'm over here geek. I'm laughing because everything that we're saying, and Rashad is just giving it to us in a completely different perspective, but it's everything we said last week in the same thing. Like, I love the zodiac signs as well. Like when I was just reading the description of a Leo the other night, and the beautiful thing about a good description of our zodiac signs, it'll show you not only our weaknesses and our strengths, but it shows you our masculine energies. It shows you our feminine energies and how we work in those and how we move through those and how we can move through the. So like
shout out the Leos. Shout out the Leos.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's good. It's real good. I like this aspect of now we're showing y'all different looks. I like that he brought up his sister and his nephew with that, because we get a lot of that in saying, especially females trying to raise boys without a clear understanding of not just masculine and not just manhood and things like that. You trying to direct, and the thing you actually doing, she doing nephew a disservice by telling him, to stop being emotional and to stop crying and things like that, because now you got a boy that's going to grow up with all these discords, one towards women, and then also thinking that he can't, that I can't show my emotion and I can't cry, and now I got to be emotionally incarcerated and backed up to the things that I want to do and how I want. Like, just because he might see mama doing some sewing, right? We automatically assume that that's a feminine thing. But once again, that's not feminine, right? We associate females with doing that, but just because you can sew don't mean that you're feminine. It don't mean that you're gay. These things don't define that. But we, like Rashad been saying, somehow at some point we managed to put these things, masculine, feminine, male, female, we managed to put all of them one together, and it's not all one. In order to truly understand it, you got to separate them. And like Tim said, that's when the toxic part come in. Like, y'all, hey man, y'all keep listening, because this stuff fire right here.
I feel like once you, you know what I'm saying, when you do like chastise somebody for being feminine or masculine, I feel like that's doing exactly the opposite of what energy is here to do. Energy is meant to flow. I feel like when you stop somebody and tell them that they can't stop crying, don't be emotional, you're stagnating energy. And when you try to stagnate energy, you really can't. But when you try to, there's always some adverse effect, which will create some type of resentment or something of that nature. It'll create some type of resentment, right? Instead of allowing the child, instead of I'm gonna say carve out instead of stagnating this person and putting them into one box, give them a lane, create a lane for them to structure, so they don't go too far off, you know what I'm saying, too far off the ledge, you know what I'm saying, and they can stay in one lane, but allowing that, giving them that space to actually flow the way energy is supposed to. So like you said, allowing them to be emotional as they need to be in that point in time, or being aggressive as they need to be in that point in time, but keeping them in that, not blocking them in, but creating that structure for them.
Space.
Create that space for them.
I love your choice of words. Your choice of words always give me more stuff to talk about, because you're right. It do create blockages, because now when you do that, now we're going on something a little different, but it's still talking about energy. Now you're blocking a chakra, because now you can get on to this kid and you can say, hey, you're not supposed to be this way, that I don't want you in your natural energy of being feminine, because you are the gender of a male, and your sex, I need it to be straight, because if not, my friends are going to tease me. And so now by me just keep doing all of this stuff, now I'm blocking your throat chakra. Now the next thing you know, you went from a kid talking all the time, being happy and joyful, but now every time he's around people, he don't talk. Now he don't show that side anymore, because he's afraid that everybody else is going to see him the way that his mom see him. Now you're blocking somebody's crown chakra, where now they're not thinking anymore. Now their mind is constantly at a battle where they feel like around everybody, I got to walk on eggshells, because I don't know if you're going to accept me or not. Or maybe now this could affect your root chakra, where you have no foundation. And now you're building these childhood traumas that you are literally stuck in that place in time. And now you have a man that's 50 years old, but in his mind, he's still 5, because he's keep replaying the things that mom told him. And so see, when we do stuff like this, we do block energy. And the way that we block these energies is by blocking the chakras.
That blockage, And they got to be,
let me ask you this,
clear them out.
Brother King, let me ask you this. Like, I think what happens, especially with males, we don't heal. And the reason it's hard for us to heal is because we're confined, like Miguel said, that, you know, under those things that have been, you know, chastised against us, you know, we keep hearing those things. And the crazy part is a lot of males that grow up to be gay were called gay as they were growing up. So the constant chastising and them being called that didn't reverse, you know, it actually, you know, as the Bible said, you call things as what they, you know, what you want them to be, but they were calling them, you know, you're gay, you're this, and he still turned out that way. Right. So you
Words
know,
are a spell.
And look
Yeah.
at just energy on a physical. If you look at this on a physical level, right? All disease comes from what? A blockage of energy. I had GERD.
Blockage of energy.
I had GERD in a benign liver disease, right?
Mhm.
Before I went to my naturopathic doctor. Shout out to Dr. Rosenberg. She's amazing. Um, she she figured what they do a muscle test, and right, these muscle tests, they pretty much gauge where energy is flowing and where energy is not, right? So they do these muscle tests on various different parts of the body, right? And it's just a simple thing as being able to cross your leg and then try to raise your knee up. If you can't raise your knee up against the pressure of that person's hand, there's no energy flowing there. And you would think that's something that you can do, but you'll quickly find out like, damn, I really couldn't do that. But it's not because it's not a matter of strength. It's because the meridians in your body in that at that area of the body, right, which is just channels of energy, right? It's blocked off. So for me, it was blocked off. All the energy in my body was blocked off at my stomach. So from my waist down, I didn't have energy flowing. So it was stuck in my stomach. So it was stuck in my stomach. Guess what? And it gave me GERD and a liver disease, right? So I had that going on. Why? Because the energy was blocked. So as soon as she was able to unblock the meridians, unblock the blocked meridians in my body, unlock those channels of energy to allow it to flow, then I no longer had GERD symptoms. I no longer had the liver the symptoms from that liver disease. I didn't have that anymore, right? So that just goes to show you that once you allow energy, once you create the safe space for energy to flow as it's supposed to, then you create a whole generation of children that wind up being able to accomplish and do way more than we all, pretty much having a quantum leap from one generation to the next. So pretty much this next generation coming up, if we create the safe space for them that we should create, now you create a generation of children that will be able to accomplish what may have taken before 3 or 4 generations to accomplish in one. Why? Because you're now letting the energy to flow. Now you create and you raise them in the space where that energy is allowed to flow, instead of stagnating them in this box and that box and this box or that box, right? Because at the end of the day, all energy is supposed to do is flow, and when it does not flow, disease happens.
And look, right or wrong, right? Like you said, it's still supposed to flow, and we're blocking it, right? So if as it's still flowing, now it's flowing into these negative spaces, right? The disease, the different thing. Hey, Tim, I can't wait. I gotta go to this lady because I know I got some stuff that's blocked. I need to in creating this space where even looking at the chakras, you know what I'm saying? I've learned about this in reading, just watching cartoons and stuff like that. At the point that we're able to unblock all of these areas that we're supposed to be flowing in naturally, like you talking about a completely different kind of person, a different kind of man, period, a different kind of woman, different kind of husband, father, businessman, whatever across the board. And then you're, once again, like we've been saying, you're able to flow in and out of these different places and these different energies. You can be what you need to be when you need to be it. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole blockage thing is just for one of those chakras. It's a serious thing, and people really don't understand where, like Shane was saying, you're doing the adverse. You're doing completely different from what you don't want. I don't even want to look at it as trying to say you don't want your son or your daughter to be gay or anything like that. I just want to say is you want what you want is overpowering what that want and that need and that desire of that individual is, and you're putting your wants or whatever on that person. You're creating a block and a barrier for that person, because now they can't freely be themselves. They can't, and like you say, that energy got to go somewhere. So it's going to create the diseases, it's going to create the ailments, and it's going to create those situations where now you got a dude that is beating on his girl, that does want to be completely aggressive all the time and want to fight. You know what I mean? Like it's a energy once again, and separating and making a clear line of male and female, and these energies and the way that we're supposed to operate. Man, this is good. It's good stuff.
Brother King.
We see how deep this topic is with masculine and feminine energy, how just focusing on this one topic it now opened the door to the zodiac signs, to the chakras, and all of this other stuff. And we see how deep it is now. And so, see, so many times people don't even hit the surface of it because we stay on the physical, and we always put masculine and feminine energy to gender. Sometimes we only do gender and we don't, but it's always gender and sex that we keep it as, and we don't understand how big, how big it is. And the moment that we separate that masculine and feminine energy from gender and sex, now we're talking about a whole completely different a topic, and it's something that can actually help people. It's something that can actually get people unstuck. Because see, like with me, growing up, me and my dad, growing up, we didn't have, the best relationship. And so I'll say, a lot of times, especially in Black families and stuff like that, we can easily look at our kids and identify traits that it's a possibility, this kid may be gay, or it's a possibility this kid, may be, straight or gay. And with my dad, I know from a very young age, he knew instantly that, okay, I know my son is going to be gay. And so that has nothing to do with masculine and feminine energy. That just automatically put me in sex. So that's just the sex of the person. But at the end of the day, I think the misconception we always have is because the person's sex is this, that their gender is automatically going to be this. That now because they're gay, they're automatically going to try to be another gender. And it's like, no, you can still be gay. And at the same time, your gender can still be male, and you delight being a male and you want to be a male. And then now your energy is something completely different. But I remember as a kid, which I think is the most dangerous part, is that when we identify a problem in a kid that the kid don't see as a problem. Because I remember in elementary, my dad used to always get on to me. He was like, okay, why do you walk like that? Why do you talk like that? And me as a kid, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't see nothing wrong with the way that I walk or the way that I talk. And I used to always get in trouble by him because he's like, a man is not supposed to walk like that, and a man is not supposed to talk like that. And so he took me out of the natural flow of walking and talking and doing things, where now my entire time I'm consciously thinking about how I walk. I'm consciously thinking about how I talk to other people and how I come across. And consciously thinking about those things was so draining that I'm trying to be something that he want me to be and live up to his expectations, that now my grades, I'm failing in school because I'm doing more focusing on the things that he identified as a problem that I never seen as a problem. And so now I'm spending all of my time and energy focusing on these things, and now it's creating imbalances when it comes to other chakras, because now I'm only focusing on one, which is the crown chakra, where in my mind, I'm logically thinking like, okay, how can I do all of this stuff that my dad want me to be so that I can be, presentable and acceptable in his eyes? And I just don't think we understand the pressure and things like that we put on kids when we start bringing these problems out or projecting a problem onto a kid that was never a problem. That we literally took them out of the natural flow of things, and now we created an imbalance in them, and then it's going to come out in stress.
This is how you become limitless right here.
Yeah, I relate a lot of this to like sports, right? And so growing up playing ball and boxing, your coach could always see from the outside looking in your technique, whether you were traveling, whether you were carrying the ball, whether in boxing your stance was what wasn't correct, or your hands weren't up. Those were issues that you could not necessarily see. But on the other tip, like in golf, they say, look, don't mess with a kid's golf swing. Just let him swing. Just let him swing, and he will gradually mature into a better swing. I kind of disagree with that, because not only time does not correct things. Like you said, LT, last week, repetition does. Yeah. Getting your reps in the correct way will correct those things.
And that's interesting. You said that, Frank, and I guess to shoot it back to Brother King, it seems like a lot of businesses and, just you being like in HR, you see more therapists in the HR community. Like they'll now have a therapist like on site. If they recognize like somebody may have trauma on something, so companies have become, I guess, more invested in their workers actually healing from issues, and mental things. Lately, mental health has just become, more prominent. And now, you see in HR, they send someone to go talk to a therapist, or a therapist actually being, there on site.
Got you. Hey, fellas, we barely scratched this look, man. We barely touched it, man. Hey, Miguel, Tim, y'all got anything?
Hey, look, this I can't wait to listen to this back. Hey, look, the only thing I got, I wanted to give a real, like, Rashad just gave that example of how his father used to look at him and talk about his walk, right? I want to bring this up to date to make this real personal. My youngest son, Junior, he naturally sits with his legs crossed, no matter what. It doesn't matter what he's doing. If he's sitting on the couch, whatever, my man naturally crosses his legs. And, that's one of those things that we put in the box and be like, oh, men don't cross their legs, women cross their legs. The only time men be doing that is maybe you got a suit on or something, but overall, men don't cross their legs. So at one point, this was even before we started talking about this or whatever, at one point, looking, I'll be like, why he always crossing his legs like that? And I almost made it a thing. And I just got to the point where this was before learning all of this. When now I just realized, that's just him. And that's just, for whatever reason, that's just what's comfortable for him. That's what fits in his pocket. So it ain't nothing wrong with it. It's not. It ain't gay or him being a girl or anything just because he crossed his legs. Because look at this. He sits like that. Now, he doesn't see anybody sit like that. My wife don't sit like that. I don't sit like that. He naturally sits like that. Like that's what he want to do. He crosses his leg, and my man is comfortable in that space doing that. For me to try to constantly stop him from just sitting in that position, the blocking, and what could I possibly be doing to him? You see what I'm saying? Like, look how much time and energy it would have to take for me to stop him from doing something that he naturally comfortable doing. You know what I mean? That'd be creating a situation. But now that after having this conversation, I can put even more context to it, and like I'm good. I was already good with like, just let my man be him. But now when we put all of this information and this context behind it even more, I'm even more settled in watching him. I actually want to go upstairs and sit and see if you sit like that right now. Just be like, hey man, you sit the way you sit, boy. You know what I'm saying?
But see, I think one of the things in the Black community, what we always do is that we are so quick to like kind of do my dad approach that we attack things in fear of, someone being gay instead of just asking a question. You'll be surprised what you can get when you do it in another different way and you ask the question. I noticed that when my son, when he used the bathroom, he always sit down to use the bathroom. And so I know after seeing it for so long, I was just asking him like, why do you sit down when you use the bathroom? And, instead of saying, oh, a man is not supposed to sit down when he pees, you're supposed to stand up. You need to be proud to be a man. And he was just telling me, it was funny. He was like, the reason why I sit down, because he was like, when I'm done, he was like, it still drip. And then it wet my pants up in my underwear.
Shout
and I'm
out
like,
to your
what?
son.
What are you talking about? I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. But then when I actually listened to what he was saying, he's uncircumcised and he wasn't pulling back the foreskin. And so that's why he was getting that drip.
You were able to guide him from that.
And now since I explained to him that process, that, hey, you can sit down if you want, but if you want to stop this drip, all you got to do is pull this back, and then that liquid won't get trapped and dripped out later. Mm-hmm. And now since he know that, he just stand up automatically because he was only doing it to avoid getting his clothes wet.
But he had a father there to teach him that, though. That's the key. That's the key thing is that having someone there to guide you through the process. But I got this is my last question, and this goes to brother. This goes to everybody. And this is
I make my son sit down too, because he got bad aim. He got bad aim.
Nah, man, you gotta teach him to aim, baby.
I be tired. Hey, look, I'm used to getting up at 2 in the morning and trying to stand up and pee at 2 in the morning. Terrible. So I
Y'all
just sit
better
down.
straddle that damn toilet. Hey,
Man, sit down.
I got a
glory hole.
I got a question, and this is, as fathers, when do we get to the point where we can notice something in our sons or in our daughters? Like you said, it may not necessarily be something that's wrong, but we may deem it as like, hey, I don't understand that. That's wrong. So how can we get to the point, other than maybe just saying, if we don't know the right question to ask, to say, okay, look, I don't like what's going on. I don't understand it. I think it's wrong, but I ain't sure. And I don't want to drive my kid down there, because I've apologized to my son plenty of times for my toxicness, because you grow up a certain way. I only know what I know. You know what I'm saying? So, but how do I get to that point where it's like, okay, I don't know what that is, but it ain't sitting right with my spirit?
But I say the best way to me is that, it's just like in this example, the example I gave, you have to ask. You have to ask, and you have to be willing to participate in a dialogue, and not the opposite, where you're demanding, where you're saying, this is what I'm saying that's wrong with you. You need to change it now. That's not a dialogue. And I think all too often when we approach our kids, it's more in this authority figure that you got to listen to me. I want this changed right now, instead of just, you know what, like, I'm really concerned. Like, I want to know, like, why do you do this? Like, why do you say that? And I think the moment that we start inviting a warm dialogue, that's when things are better. Because, and I think it's easy for someone to know if you don't have that dialogue with your kids, because I know I had another sister where, because I got 9 sisters actually, but one of my sisters, her son was getting picked on in school, where kids was calling him names and everything. When he got back home, she told him that, oh, I'm gonna whoop you because he was acting a fool in school and stuff like that. And she was saying, like, for you to be acting a fool, what was the other kid saying? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Listen, whenever a kid is saying they don't know, that's just a sign for you that they don't trust you. Because if a kid is turning up and throwing desks and throwing stuff at the teachers and the other kids, they know exactly what that other person said. But they're so afraid to tell you because they think that you're going to agree. That if I say that, the other kids was calling me gay, and then you say, well, you are kind of feminine, now you just confirmed what they said, and that's why I'm not telling you. And so a lot of times, we can see prevalent when you have, good trust and stuff like that with your kids, just by what they're willing to disclose to you. And if they're not willing to disclose something as simple as, what was the other kid saying? What were they calling you? That's a sign there that you need to work on your communication skills. And that we as fathers, we need to make sure that our communication skills is welcoming and it's inviting, and that it's encouraging dialogue and not automatically accusing them of something.
Well, I still want to be honest too. If, for instance, if your kid is going to school and he ain't put on some deodorant and the kid say he stink, well, motherfucker, you ain't do what you're supposed to. So you probably do, you know what I'm saying? So I still want to make sure that we are being honest in it too.
Because it's not saying that don't be honest, but it's saying be more tactful with it. You don't want to start the conversation where as soon as they say that, and it's like, of course you stink. You stink up this house all the time. You really want to it's always about the approach, because, I think it's key what the Bible says, that, you have the power to speak life and death. Your response can be speaking life, where this is a teachable moment and I'm about to change things that you won't experience this anymore. Or you can speak death, where you're saying, I'm finna add on to the taunting that the other kids gave you, and now I'm about to make this a stronghold that you're gonna experience for the rest of your life.
Yes, I think what it is, first of all, it's a lot of people that get into this topic, and the more I learn about it, the more I get into it, the more I'm starting to not like that word toxic anything, right? Let's first of all, let's say that, because let's say, for example, Frank, whatever, let's say one of the kids do something and you come at them in an aggressive form. You're not being toxic, bro. You're being aggressive. As that's a masculine trait in that at that particular time. Well, rather in aggression, it happens instantaneously, right? It's one of those things that I once again going back to the reference, when God decided that he needed to wipe the slate clean, that's aggressive, right? I think that's aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't being understanding. He gave you enough, he gave us enough leeway, and let's just go ahead and do this thing all over. And we're gonna start from here, right? I think in going into the situation, whatever the situation may be, rather than being aggressive and just saying, don't do this, don't do that, whatever, like Rashad saying, is now we got to go into it. I guess you would be operating more in a feminine energy to be more understanding, being more patient. You know what I'm saying? And patience is a female characteristic, right? Being more patient, not female, feminine. Be more patient, be more understanding. What they say, slow to speak, quick to hear, right? Because in the moment that we quick to speak, you know, we can probably be forceful or aggressive or bold or loud. And just sitting here as we break this down, I can hear where I've been really aggressive with my kids, right? And that's not saying that it's toxic, because even at the end of it, our mother raised us like this. My mother would whoop us, and then in the same time, right after finish whooping us, would in a mama voice explain why you got that woman, and I love you. That's but right. Don't think that I don't love you because of that, but I need you to understand why I just had to get you. You see what I'm saying? So in the same sense, she was what she needed to be. And to get me, she needed to be aggressive. She needed to be masculine. To break it down to me and to nurture me, and so that I could understand and not be losing my mind while I'm crying, she had to bring it down to that feminine energy, and then it's all love, and then you take it to the store and give me a toy.
Well said,
exactly. That's how it was. That's how it is between like my wife. Like when I talk about like my wife, right? She would talk about you know what I'm saying, disciplining children from a different aspect because of how she got disciplined from one of her parents, where it wasn't the way that our mother did it, right? So when we talk about disciplining our son, and I do things the way that I do it, sometimes it would rub her the wrong way until I explain this to her. It would rub her the wrong way because of how we came up. Like I like discipline. When it comes to whooping ass, I agree with whooping ass. Why? Because my mother did it in the right way to where it didn't create resentment. It didn't create resentment in me for her, because when she did it, she also balanced it out with, I love you. You know what I'm saying? She also told me why she did what she had to do at that point in time. Where on my wife's side, it was just the whooping and that was it. You know what I'm saying? It was just a punishment and that was it. And it was because I said so. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, so the way we looked at, the way that we look at, disciplining our children was slightly different because of our experiences that we had growing up.
Okay, so I know we getting to the point where we got to wrap it up, fellas. I want you to go ahead and shoot that footage right quick, so our listeners can hear what was intended earlier.
How many people have heard the term hypermasculinity? How many people have heard this term apply to black men constantly? All right. The term hypermasculinity is actually a social science term that originated around the 1960s and was used, as late as I could tell, till 1988 to describe black men. Here's the crazy thing about it. It's not a term that actually talks about black men being more masculine. It's about them being more feminine. The argument was, if black men didn't have male role models in their homes, right? Because remember, all black men abandoned their children back then. This is the Monahan type stuff. Women were the heads of household. If you had a son, the son imitates the head of household. So when a black son imitates a mother, he takes on female characteristics. They call it a female personality disorder. The effect of the female personality disorder is that the black man becomes more deviant. He likes female things, but his masculine body can't do that, can't perform that in the world. So he actually then starts to reject everything feminine. And by rejecting everything feminine, that's how he becomes hypermasculine. This is how this stuff developed. But how many of us knew that history? So what we do is this is what I'm saying. So we constantly deploy terms, especially on black male bodies, right? Because this is the history of how gender is formulated. In a patriarchal ethno-nationalist society, they're interested in the male subject. because the male subject could have sex with the female subject and you mess up all your pretty Anglo-Saxonism. So everything is about policing that, right? Women are exploited for labor, for bodies, for generating middle classes. So when you look at Jamaica, you rape black women, what do? You create a middle class of people, mulattoes, that can do your dirty work and govern over the rest. See, our bodies are exploited in different ways. Our sex makes us vulnerable in different ways. But we know none of this. So then we come in and we start talking about the ideas of patriarchy. Black men were literally excluded from the patriarchal class in this country until the 70s. There is not a record in 100 years of anyone referring to black men as patriarchs, because the idea was that they were lesser men and feminine. This is what they said in the 19th century ethnology. This is what they said in the 20th century. This is what they said in the 1980s.
So what it boils down to me as we wrap this thing up is we live in a society that already has its inbuilt rules, and we are victims of that. And one of my favorite quotes is that it's from Christian Emertes. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So we put all these titles everywhere that a sick society has given us, and we adopt it. We adopt the sickness, and like Miguel said, then we throw toxic everywhere. All right, fellas, I appreciate you guys. You are now listening to the Root Cause Podcast. Y'all can look at us on YouTube, on our new network, which is the Underground Lab Network, Spotify, and Apple Music for the audio. Brother Rashad, we appreciate you, brother, for showing up again. And you came
wait till
strong,
you come back through.
Man. You came through strong. And we look forward to you on our next conversation with the idea that you gave us. Brother Shane, Brother Miguel, y'all have anything else left to say?
Good.
Brother Rashad?
Oh yeah, it was good being here. I think this was a really good topic. And I hope that it, open people's eyes to what masculine and feminine energy is. I hope the one thing that people take from this more than anything is remove gender and sex from masculine and feminine.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Hey, look, only thing I gotta say is this episode was brought to you by 301 Nutrition Spot. Y'all go get y'all a healthy smoothie or a good energy drink that's good for the body. Hey, Frank, you make sure you go make a stop, all right?
I'm on the way.
All right, man. Hey, look, man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hey, look, y'all definitely got to do some commenting and sharing it on this one here, because this thing was fire, boy. This was my church for today.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
All right, we out.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the Root Cause Podcast. My name is Frankie Ball. I am one of the hosts and one of the creators of the podcast. And we have the 301 Nutrition Spot with us this evening. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
We have Miss Crystal and
Doris Tucker.
Miss Tucker. And you guys are the owners and CEOs of this establishment, right?
Yes.
So explain to the listeners, what is the 301 Nutrition Spot?
It's a wonderful gathering place that we do healthy smoothies, protein coffees, teas, healthy protein donuts, protein waffles, protein muffins. And we also have a small workout area that we are opening up, as well as we do online transformation challenges. So we're just here to get the community healthier, to support the community to do positive and do better things in our neighborhood.
I can dig that. I need to work out myself. Now, what was the motivation? How did your team start, and how did you guys create the business?
Oh, that should be you.
So, well, actually, I'll backstory how I met Miss Doris. I was doing a little bit of this in the community, and I know her son. So her son had introduced us. we got together and she started coming to the workouts. And then we just had a discussion. The mission has always been to help our community to become a healthier, active community, one person at a time. So Ms. Doris, part of her story, and I'm sure she don't mind me sharing, is she's a loopy. And at the time when I met her, energy was low. She was just like, wah, wah. We got together, spent some time together, and she's worked on her nutrition and fitness, and she feel amazing. So we thought this would be something great to roll out to our community. So to get a place, 301 Nutrition Spot is between my residence and hers. And this is just something that we knew could help our community, because another option other than fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, all of that. So that's how the thought came about. And as she shared, our mission is just to help our community to become healthier, period.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know I live over here in the Oxon Hill area, and my wife and I, we're always complaining about there are not enough healthy spots, enough nutrition, other than, you got your McDonald's, Popeyes, just the normal junk food that's around. And so I'm glad to see that there are other establishments, especially owned by Black women, around in the Prince George's County area. As I look in your background, I'm seeing signs like mindset. We actually have a guy on our show named Miguel Brown, and he's considered to be the mindset motivator, and he preaches that a lot. You change your mind, you change your life. So I think that is God sent. We were meant to join as teams. As you know, as you can hear,
No, I was gonna say, while you're there, that's another compliment we get when you come into the shop. Like, we're not just here to sell smoothies, but from the moment that people walk in, it's just a different spirit in the space, where they feel the love, they feel that we care. It's not, hey, just here goes smoothie, pay for the smoothie, but we connect with a lot of the people that come inside as well.
There you go. Oh, I like that. As you can hear, I stutter, right? And we had a show a couple weeks ago, and I was extremely exhausted the day before, or the morning of, because it was a late evening. So my energy was low, my focus was off. And when that happens, my mind moves faster than my mouth and the stuttering. And I made it through the show, right? I made it through the show. Now, you all sell nutrition things. So I've tried diets such as the keto diet, alkaline, and raw food. I've done it all, right? Do you guys cater to those different lifestyles for people who have those different lifestyles, like the keto diet? I know there's low carbs, there's certain foods they can't have, things of that nature.
I don't know if cater to them is I wouldn't say cater. One thing that we teach is lifestyle. Okay. So just like you, I meet a lot of people that say, I was on this diet, I was on that diet. So we teach something that people can do from this point on. Okay. When you do keto, you only gonna do keto for a certain amount of time. We're not telling anyone, if you come in, like our smoothies are 200 calories naked, 24 grams of protein, 9 grams of sugar, but the sugar come from natural sources, fruits, things of that nature. And we also eat. So we don't tell you, hey, come on in, get a smoothie, and you're just gonna drop 80 pounds. It doesn't work like that. So we coach you. Ms. Darcy shared, we do a lot of online challenges. Inside of our challenges is education. So we tell people from the jump, it's not a diet. We just teach you how to eat better, foods that you actually like, that are pleasing to your palate, that's going to help you get to your goal. So that swipe all of that other stuff left and right. And our clients stay longer because of that.
Gotcha.
It's not just the food, it's the whole community. We support them, we keep them accountable. And like Crystal said, when I came to her, I was in the 200 plus club. And now I'm down about 75 pounds. But the main thing is I feel better, but I've also been able to maintain it, because I'm a Southern girl. So I had my fried skillet and everything. So instead of doing skillet stuff, I use my air fryer. I change it up some. Okay. But I'm able to do a lifestyle change versus something I'm up and down. And I've always been up and down, because I've tried this diet, I've tried that thing, and my weight goes, my closet was from like a size 8 to a size 18 plus. So I was like, this is crazy.
Right.
And so once I could maintain it, it was like, okay, we got to show other people how to do this. And we have to educate our people. It's not just about the smoothies, it's about the education.
That's the main thing. Yeah. When you know better, you do better.
Right.
So what things do you have coming up in the near future that the community can take part in, that our supporters and your future supporters will be able to come and say, hey, I want to join that?
Oh, wow. Too bad we didn't do this last week. We just had a fundraiser for a mentoring group on Saturday. But we partner with different people in the community to do, just like this was a young mentoring group. These kids went to school, one of my children, and they put together a nonprofit to do mentoring and volunteer. So we did a fundraiser with them. We also support other major organizations like Lupus, of course. We're also supporting breast cancer. So we do different organizations all year long. Right now with the pandemic, it's been really hard to plan things because I had a self-defense class planned, but then we had to take it, shut the shop down so we could only do takeout. So it's really difficult to do that. So we're going to sit down and do our calendar and try to get it back together now that things have opened up again. So if they could just follow us on social media, well, that's the best way. And we'll be in contact with you, and we'll definitely send you things as they come up. Because I don't know of anything off the calendar, off the cuff, that's coming immediately besides Valentine's Day. Of course, we got Valentine's Day.
Well, we do, Ms. Doris, the Win Your Day challenge that we're rolling out, the virtual. And you can, so as she just shared, we're not having droves of people in at a time, but they could come in. Like say, for example, yourself, if you had a couple friends and you wanted to come in, a wellness evaluation is something that we also do before talking about our nutrition plan. Because even though you could come have our smoothies at the counter, you could also do this at home. And so we attract a lot of people on our social media. Our Win Your Day challenge is starting on February 8th. There will be a link on our Facebook and our Instagram, so people can click the link and fill that out. And then outside of that, just for now, anyone that's interested, they have a group of girlfriends or some, family members that is looking to gain energy, want to release some weight, you could just stop by the store and come in and schedule a small group. So we'll do samples, things of that nature. So those are little things that we could do now. That's not really on a big scale, but we are able to still support our community that way until we can start rolling in with the big events.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you guys are still rocking and rolling even in the midst of the pandemic. And I know that you guys have probably been promoting the boost of your immune system this season. And in lieu of, a lot of folks in our community are kind of standoffish when it comes to the vaccine and all kind of things. So what do you have to say about the pandemic and boosting your immune system?
I mean, like Crystal shared, I have lupus, and I'm the last person that should be out working with the public, but we have a couple products that we promote. Immune Essential is one of them, and Best Defense. I do my Immune Essential tea every day, and my lupus numbers have been satisfied. They've been in range. I haven't had any problems being in contact with people, where in the past, you sneeze, I get pneumonia, that kind of stuff. So the immune products have been really, really popular. Last year, we couldn't keep them in stock. We're barely keeping them in stock this year because it's a nice way, because they're natural. There's not, what our basis is cellular. So everything that your cells need versus, some additives and that kind of stuff.
Okay. And when you say cellular, is that with kind of like the Dr. Sebi stuff, like removing mucus from your body and things of that nature by tackling the cells?
Well, our products meet you at the cellular level. Okay. So if you look at our products, a lot of other products, I don't know how to make the comparison, but I do know ours enter in we have a product called cellulose. Cellulose help get rid of the extra water that we carry and balance the pH of our skins. So our products attack your body from the cellular level, if that makes sense.
It does. Well, ladies, can you tell our listeners where they can find you at one more time, your web address and your physical address, all of the above?
Our physical address is 9542 Crane Highway. We're in the Malton Shopping Center, and I'll let her do the social media stuff.
Oh, it's just 301 Nutrition Spot on Instagram and Facebook. And then www.301nutritionspot.com. And I believe we had a coupon for your listeners, right?
You did. Yes, you sure do. And that is TRC. It's
all right.
The root cause. And so to all the listeners, when you go to the spot, please use TRC for a discount. And they will know that you're coming by way of us. Miguel and I will be up there. We plan to be there today, but due to the snow, we thought that it was kind of not safe to just be out. But we will be there this week. And we're proud to be in connection with you guys. And we plan to do more work with you and support you guys. All right?
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, sister.
We do. All righty. Thanks for reaching out.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.